and welcome to the 10th episode of the 10th Divine Podcast. The 10th episode of the 10th Divine Podcast. That works really well. There we go. We made it to number 10. This is a show about the Elder Scrolls Online. I am your host, Raven, and with me I have my amazing co-host, Shanty. How you doing this week? Or shouldn't we ask?
It's been a week. Just lots of stuff going on the personal front. Don't really want to get into it, but it has not been a great week.
No, that kind of sucks. Is your jaw, last week your jaw was hurting because you'd just been to the dentist? Has that particular thing at least resolved itself?
That much has resolved itself.
Hooray!
Although
nice you take at least one thing off the list.
Although in my infinite wisdom, my next appointment when I'm getting a bridge put in is the day before our next recording. So
oh, good. Okay. You can hold up cards or something, and that probably won't work in a podcast. Actually, now I come to think about it. But it's very exciting. This is our 10th episode. Something like 80% of podcasts don't make it to their 10th episodes. And here we are.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this one. I've been, marking down the days.
Yeah, cool.
And how is your week, Pen?
Oh, God. I don't recommend attempting to buy property. I don't recommend attempting to buy property. I am still attempting to buy a flat, and absolutely nothing has happened usefully this week. So that remains a thing. My landlord has confirmed when I will need to leave this flat. So, that's a thing. Yeah. But I am theoretically on holiday. And when I say theoretically, I mean I don't have to go into work next week, but I have just spent 2 hours working. Today is Sunday, for those who are not able to divine that just from the beginning of the show. Today is a Sunday. I've just spent 2 hours working. I think I've got another couple of hours to do before I can possibly finish what I am doing today. But I am supposed to be on holiday next week. So, I mean, that's something, I guess. We'll see. We are, as ever, of course, not on our own, because that would be weird, because we do an interview podcast. And we are very excited today to meet our guest, Avron. Avron, show.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Thanks for asking.
Good.
It's just been a week for everyone, right? So we'll just go with okay.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that. So, what have you gotten up to in game since we last recorded? Raven, why don't you go ahead and kick us off there?
Sure, that's a really good question. I have done some bits and pieces this week. So, our Thursday dungeon group did get to do some Thursday dungeons, which was good. So, we went and picked up the Undaunted dungeons. We managed to do... Oh, what's that funny vampire one with the funny vampire swimming pool? What's the one with the funny... It's like a... Oh, it was terrible. And we had Castle Thorn. We did Castle Thorn with its terrible vampire swimming pool. Only on normal, but we did do it. Like, the last time we went there, we got so smeared across the floor in the swimming pool. I don't think it's actually a swimming pool. It's some kind of conservatory range. I don't know. There's a weird castle thing. It's full of vampires. Gwendis turns up. You have to help her. It's all fine.
Raven's descriptions are amazing.
It's a swimming pool now, by the way, forevermore. From this moment on, I will always think of it as a swimming pool.
Yeah, I don't know what it's supposed to be. It's like it's full of vampires. But yeah, we got so fucked up in there the first time we went in. We actually gave up and we never finished it. So we did actually finish Castle Thorn for the first time this week. We've got a lot better since we started trying. So that was really good. We also did... Direfrost Keep, which we'd never done before, which was quite exciting. And then we did Spindle Clutch 2, and we managed to do Spindle Clutch 2 on a vet.
Ooh, nice.
I felt quite happy about. So, yeah, we did a couple of normal dungeons and a vet dungeon on Thursday, which was pretty good. Other than that, I've just been keeping my writs ticked over. I've been leveling up. I leveled up alchemy, almost all of that. It's like 45 or something now. Because I wanted to go in and learn all of the different, like what all of the different traits of all of the different things were. So I got like a guide up and sat and Made lots of random potions with this one, and then that one, and that one, and then that one, and that one. And now I know what everybody's traits are, which is very exciting. And it's very pleasing when you look down your list in your bank that it's like, yeah, no, I know what all of these things do. So that's sorted my OCD out for a bit and got my alchemy up to like 45. So that's quite good. I'm questing in elsewhere at the moment. So after I finished High Isle, I was like, let's go somewhere else, find something else to do. And I picked dragons. So I've just finished Northern Elsewhere. I've helped, what's his face with the armor? What's his name? Oh, I can't remember what his name is. He's got some very exciting armor, and I can't remember what his name is. Anyway, I helped him, and I don't know that we've got rid of any dragons. I think we've just chased them to Southern Elsewhere. So I'm now going to go to Southern Elsewhere, and there's probably going to be more dragons. And I helped Jakan do a thing. And I made somebody a queen, and I killed somebody else. You know, it's all the standard sort of stuff that you need to do. So I've helped some cats out. They're all really happy. And I finished that, and I've got my Hall of my Lunar Champion, which is very useful for just putting shit in. So yes, the storage, my house storage unit is now up and running. So I'm quite excited.
It's the best storage house, though. It's mine too, which is why I lost my mind when you said that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what else would you use it for? It's not very homely, but
it's got the 4 like bonus rooms on the side. Yeah, exactly, it's perfect.
Exactly. Perfect. So yeah, my big yellow storage unit is all up and running in Rimmen. So I'm quite excited about that. Help lots of cats out, and I've stolen a lot of stuff. There's lots of stealing to do in Elsewhere, which Ember, so I've been running around with Ember as my companion. She loves it when you steal stuff. Make her really happy when you steal stuff. So she's now very, very happy with me because I've stolen a lot of stuff. Although she got less happy when I got caught by a guard and I paid them. She was like, no, you can't pay them. And I'm like, God, I'm not going to spend the next half hour running halfway across this zone trying to outrun the guards. That's not what we're doing here. No, we're just going to pay the guards and get on with our shopping. Thank you very much. So yeah, it's good. I've been doing some questing. It's been fun. What have you been up to, Shanty?
Well, speaking of questing, I've been working through the AD zones because I just ran around everywhere doing everything before actually getting into the proper faction story. So I've worked through the last bits of oh god,
someplace. Probably full of wood elves.
Grotwood, I did some of that. I finished that. It finished Green Shade as well for both the story and all the Sky Shards there. I'll go back for the world bosses and other stuff later. And got through the first skill point worth of story in Malabar Tor. Nice. Aside from that, I've also hit my first 2 9 traits on crafting. So good. Getting there. And got myself crafted a Hunting's Rage training set because why not get all the XP when I'm just running around doing overworld stuff anyway? Avron, how about you? What have you been up to in game recently?
Not a whole lot, which is very not like me. I think the last thing I did of note is my dungeon group and we did the Graven Deep hard mode. So in the new dungeon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we knocked it out on our second try, and we did it first time, flawless, no deaths. We were just like, oh, good job.
That is a super good job because there's some very random mechanics in that dungeon. I've done it. We've done it on a normal, so we've done the 2 new ones on normal. We haven't we're not up there as far as vets are concerned yet, but there was some really interesting stuff going on in that dungeon.
I love that dungeon. So I really like the really mechanically complex fights, and I think that's definitely the most mechanically complex dungeon. I mean, they nerfed it a little teensy bit, but just in damage, you still have to do the mechanics. So I like it. It was fun. But that's really it. And then we ran around and we spent some time trying to farm monster helms, which didn't happen because apparently we all suck at RNG. And the game said, you know what, none of you need this. I know you've run this dungeon 20 times in a row, but nah. So Nope, empty-handed. That's about it. Just chilling.
Those monster sets, I tell you, those monster sets. I did actually manage to get my monster set shoulders to drop from the stupid box.
Nice.
This is like the 4th box I've had, and I was like, come on, do not give me the wrong shoulders again. Come on. How many pairs of shoulders have you got in these boxes? Come on. And it gave me the right ones, which I was quite pleased about. So there we go. Very exciting. I'm not particularly keen on that particular mechanic. Like, just really annoying. So let us wind our way into the interview. Avron, what was your introduction to the Elder Scrolls in general, and ESO in particular?
So I guess in good Avron fashion, I actually got introduced to the Elder Scrolls through Morrowind.
Hey.
I must have been in like 8th grade, maybe a freshman in high school, so which doesn't feel like forever ago, but was. And my boyfriend at the time was like, "Hey, I'm gonna play this game. You want to play with me?" And I was like, "Sure." And it was Morrowind.
Hey.
But yeah, and I didn't have an Xbox, so I was like, "Oh, cool game. I'll never get to play it." And then the funny thing is, years later in college, somebody dropped like a CD-ROM on my lap and was like, "Dude, I think you'd like this game." And it was Morrowind, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding me." So I lost an entire week of my life becoming the Nerevarine. And I was just like, dude, this is the best game ever. And here I am.
I mean, it's a good use of time. Perhaps not when you're at college, but like, never mind.
So I basically got a minor in the Elder Scrolls, like that's just how it was. Yeah. Which worked out for me because I'm still playing it all these years later. So that was the Elder Scrolls in general. Like I got in there with Morrowind and I was just hooked for life. And ESO, I was actually with UESP, the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages, when ESO was announced. So of course I was like, hell yeah, Tamriel with friends, let's do it. And I got into the beta and I've been playing ever since. It's very straightforward.
Okay, are you a single character type player, or do you have a bunch of alts ready to go?
So, I mean, I have a main. So in ESO, if anyone ever comes to my stream or sees me in game, I'm probably on my high elf Faldaril. But I have 18 characters. So
okay.
I mostly end up on my main, but I do also play my alts. So I guess it depends. But now that ESO has the armory, I don't swap as much. Like it used to be like, oh, I'll go grab my healer. Oh, I'll go grab my tank. Or, oh, I'll get the achievement on this character. But now a lot of that is kind of streamlined where achievements are account wide and the armory I can just swap easily. So I've kind of just drifted now towards being a single character player now, but I still love my other 17 characters sometimes.
I can't cope with more than one character. I'm like, this is it. This is the only thing I'm doing. And I know what I'm doing. Otherwise I just get confused. Like what skills does this one have? How do I do this? What's going on over here? Yeah, I can't. No.
That's like the worst part too, is when I'm like, I'm going to play my Sork today. And you log in, you're like, I don't know how any of the skills work. I don't remember how to do anything. And then like every once in a while, they're like, we're going to reset champion points. And you're like, oh, haven't reset my champion points in 2 years. Guess I'm logging out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this happens to me in World of Warcraft as well. Like, oh, I'd quite like to level my mage now. So I log in my mage and I'm like, oh, I don't have any idea how mages actually work. Oh well, never mind.
Yep.
And then with mages in WoW are so squishy if they aren't like gear cap. It's frustrating when your alt is a mage.
Yeah. So the mage is not usually the one that gets leveled, because usually I'm about like I hit 2 things and they smear me across the floor and I'm like, oh yeah, mages are shit. I remember. I'm gonna go and play shaman for a bit. I'm a main spec druid in WoW, druid for life. So weirdly, I play a warden in ESO. Who'd have thought it? Where did you get started in content creation?
I guess, like, officially, I got started. I volunteered to be the streamer for UESB's Twitch page. They were like, "Hey, we need someone to stream." And at this point, I was already kind of retired from UESB, so I had been a forum admin. I had been their social media person. I was a lot of things there, and then I was like, I gotta go do life, so I retired. And then they were like, I need someone to do this. And I was like, well, I love playing video games. I love the Elder Scrolls and I love talking. So I think I'd be great. I have no idea what streaming is, though. And my now friend Pylon was like, perfect. You'll be great. And I knew nothing about it. And Pylon completely trusted me. He's like, here's the stream key. Have fun. And it didn't blow up and nothing caught on fire. And I accidentally became a streamer. Because I had no idea what streaming was. And I was like, nobody knows me. Nobody's going to show up. And I think maybe like 10 people did, and it was cool. You know, but it was, it was just like completely accidental. And I was like, I'll just do it once a week. How bad could it be? And then I got a lot of people saying like, hey, do your own thing, like go on your own channel. And I was like, okay. And then now I have my own channel. So it was completely like, it was not planned. Like I never, as a little girl, was like, I'm going to play video games for a living and people are going to watch. Although, had I known that was an actual job, I would have been so much happier.
Yeah.
So that was really it. It was just kind of like Pylon. We're really good friends now. He was with USB for a time too. But like didn't know anything about me. And it was just like, yep, sure, go for it. And if he hadn't said that, we wouldn't be here today. So thanks, Pylon.
That's so cool. Yeah, just have the keys to our Twitch account. So yeah, it's cool. It's fine. Just go.
Yeah, and I was remember being like, is this on? Is anyone there? Like, no idea how any of it works.
I mean, that's probably a good place to start streaming, in fairness, because if you understood how any of it works, you'd just be like, no, this is really difficult. Let's not do any of this.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I find that with streaming, diving in feet first, just the best way to do it.
Definitely.
Okay, so you did reference this a little bit, but what was your time with UESP like?
Interesting. So UESP was really cool. I joined probably in 2010, maybe. And back then there were still forums. So I jumped in on their forum and was like, hey, hi, I'm a person. I love this game. And then I was invited to be a forum moderator. And then I ended up being like the forum admin. And I remember too, at the time, I went to Dave, who is the founder of UESP. And I was like, Dave, you need to have social media. And Dave was just like, okay, cool. And everyone there was like, what the heck is that? We don't need it. And I was like, no, trust me. Like, we're going to make like a Facebook. We had Google Circles. That's how old this was.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. We had a Google Circles UESP page, everybody. We were hip. But I was like, we're going to do this. So Dave and I made many of the pages that are there today. I had no idea what I was doing there either. So
yeah, but also, nobody knew what they were doing with social media in 2010, so that's fine.
Yeah, like no one knew. There was a lot of resistance against it, but obviously it panned out because they're all still around those channels. So I did a lot of that stuff. I was kind of like their community person in a way. And then I stepped back and down and went and did other things. And then I came back as part of the Twitch team for a small little bit. I don't even remember how long I streamed. I couldn't have been super long with UESB. So it was interesting. And honestly, I really credit the vast majority of UESB with getting me so into the Elder Scrolls fandom, because it was just, I met friends there on those forums, like, 12 years ago that I'm still friends with today. which is awesome. And every once in a blue moon, someone's like, "Hey, weren't you that person from like this, like, forever ago?" I'm like, yeah, that was me."
Hey,
So
that's
it's
awesome.
cool. Yeah, I'm not with USB anymore. We had some differences and went our separate ways. But I'll always, I've always got a special place for the wiki and the people that do a lot of the content for the wiki and the community. They're pretty great.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really
Yeah, as an aside, if you remember Google Circles, remember your painkillers today.
cool. Yeah.
Still sad that never panned out, man. I love Google Circle.
Oh, it's so weird to think of all the things we tried without knowing which ones were the ones that were gonna stick. Like, it always surprises me that the one that really stuck is Twitter. Like, of
Who saw
all
that
of the
coming?
possible ones, like, oh, it's Twitter. Twitter's the one that's gonna be still here, and we're all still gonna be posting our 280 characters. Yep, that's cool. That's the one. So weird. So weird. So where did the name Avron come from?
A name generator.
Hey!
That's it. No, for real. When I signed up with USB, I needed a name. And at the time I took my character's name that I not even jokingly got out of a name generator for the Elder Scrolls. And it was Avron the Swit. So that was my original name. And then I dropped the latter half of it when I moved on from USB because I didn't want to be associated with that so much. And I was like, well, Avron's already taken. What do I do? So I just tacked on Doodles because I was like, I doodle. Perfect. So Avron stuck. The Swit did not.
That's so cool. Sometimes the name generators get it right.
Well, and that was the funny thing too, is because now in the Cauldron, in the dungeon in ESO, there is a character named Avron. And I went, you went to the same name generator, didn't you?
Cool.
Okay, so I've teased you on Twitter in the past about streams becoming Tales of Tribute streams. So what is your favorite deck?
Yo, all of my streams really do turn into Tales of Tribute streams. I'm not even going to hide it. My favorite deck is, I think, the Hunting deck. I like the choice of it. Every card is like a choice, and I like playing it up. Second would be Halalu because I like money, and Halalu lets me pretend that I'm rich. So, great, thank you, Halalu patron. No, I think those two are my favorite. But the Hunting deck is fun. I don't know, just getting to pick and do choices is just because sometimes you're like, oh no, these are both good. What do I do? I like it. It changes up the game a little bit.
Yeah, the versatility is really great for countering your opponent's strategies too.
It's so good.
I'm really amazed by how popular Tribute has become, actually. It's so, because this is another one of those things, it's like it really could have gone either way. It could have stayed really kind of as like a fringe thing that just a few people did.
Yeah.
But actually it seems like it's become a really big deal.
It's weird too, because I was never a card game player. I know of Magic the Gathering, I know Pokemon and all that, but I never did it. So I was like, oh, that's cool. Maybe I'll never play it. And I tried it and was like, guys, this is the coolest thing I've ever played. And now I'm a dirty, dirty Tales of Tribute addict. So thanks, Sauce.
Yeah, it's interesting. They seem to have hit something a bit kind of special with it. I've also never really played a card game, and I played a little bit of Hearthstone when Blizzard did tried to do the kind of similar thing, and I didn't really Hearthstone didn't really click for me. But actually, Tribute, I can just drop in and play. The only reason I don't play more Tribute is because there are only 24 hours in a day.
True.
So
yeah.
I very often don't have time. I don't have much gaming time during the week. And then when I get to the weekend, I always want to do some questing or something else. But I actually do kind of, I understand how it works. and I understand how the patron thing works, and I can. I'm not very good against real players, but I can beat the AI most of the time.
And that's all
Which
you
is,
need, honestly.
which is quite cool. So I quite like it. I think they've done a really good job. I know people who are really into card games kind of looked at it and went, "Oh, that's just this type of card game that's got a new skin on it and looks like these other things." And it's like, yeah, but I've never played any of those things. So
It's novel for us.
really
Yeah, we
cool.
were like,
Yeah.
cool, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah. I'm pleased. I'm pleased that it's worked out. It seems like a good idea. This is the part of the show where I just remind you all that we are part of Bonus Roll Productions. You can find our show and lots of other great MMO-focused podcasts such as Girls Gone WoW, For Azeroth, and Technically PvP over at bonusroll.gg. So around the ESO community, the wonderful ESO family, you have the nickname The Lore Mistress. Where did that come from?
I can't remember exactly. And every time someone calls me that, I get a little anxious because I'm like, are they going to ask me some really weird, obscure question that obviously I don't know, I think the Lore Mistress title, I want to say it originated with fellow streamer. It's either Locke from Loctavian, is how a lot of people used to know them, or Madigon. One of those two started calling me the Lore Mistress. I have no idea why. Totally misguided, by the way. And I want to say it's might have come from the UESP part of my career where everyone went, oh, Wiki. Oh, they must know what they're talking about. Oh, you're like the face of it. I bet you know a lot of lore, which I know an embarrassing amount of things about Tamriel for a 34-year-old. It's true. But I'm not like super, I don't know a lot of the deep, weird stuff. But I love the title because it's just really sweet that anyone acknowledged my existence in any form, So it was just really sweet when they were like, "Oh yeah, Avron, she's the Lore Mistress." And you know what? And I think it must have been Locked because I remember them saying, "So Lore Master was, like the official title on the ZOS team," and then they were like, "Well, does that make you the Lore Mistress?" And I went, "Yeah, like that sounds great. I'll be the Lore Mistress," and it's just stuck. So.
That's excellent. I think it's made even better by the fact that you don't feel like you are actually a lore mistress.
It's just like an accidental mantle that I've been given. And I do, like I said, I know an embarrassing amount of detail about the game universe. But hope nobody's ever put me to the test yet, which is great. So now everyone's going to roll up in my stream and be like, hey, I'm going to ask you some weird, like tower lore question.
Yeah, so according to Aramithius.
And I'm just going to be like, nope, didn't see that. Keep going.
Fantastic.
So your channel name is Avron Doodles. How often do you do art streams?
Not enough. It's funny because when I started like Twitter, which was under Avron Doodles, I was like, I'm just going to do more art things. But then, of course, I became an accidental streamer. So it became more content creation. So I don't do as many art streams as I'd like to. I'm hoping to work them in more because I do love to do a lot of fan art, take commissions, and it would be awesome. It's just hard because I'm not a full-time streamer. So not everyone knows this, but if you don't, you do now. I'm a full-time teacher actually by trade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I teach high school.
Amazing.
And they have no idea that I'm a nerd, but so it's also very hard just to find time to stream because that's a long day. So I'm very bad at getting all the things I like to do as hobbies out there. But hopefully I'm looking at it because I'm not an artist by trade, of course. It's just a hobby. And it was really nice. Someone in my community was like, you should do an art stream. I've seen your art. Like, just do an art stream. And I remember I was like, okay, I'll do one. And I remember sitting and like the going live screen was up and I was like sweating. Like I was nervous. My palms were sweaty. My heart was racing. I'm like, this is the stupidest idea. And I just went live and was like, I'm going to draw today. And everyone came by and was like, "Oh my God, like you can draw. That's awesome." And like it was just super cool because, it just kind of took away some imposter syndrome. So I need to do it more. So I'll do it more. And if I'm not, and you hear this podcast, you can come harass me and tell me to keep my promise.
Oh, that's so cool. Have any of your kids ever rocked up at any of your streams, or do you keep it very, very separate? Your high school teacher life and your secret streamer life.
My students know that I play video games. I like it comes up. I'll be like, "Oh yeah, like I love that game," and half the time they're like, "No, you don't. You're just saying that," and I'll be like, "Okay, cool." Like, "Yep, totally just making it up. Why would I lie about that?" I usually do not tell them like, "Oh yeah, and I stream on Twitch."
Yeah.
Because there needs to be some boundary. I did, however, once have one student who came into my Twitch and was like, "Hey, this is so-and-so." And I was like, "Hey, cool. Don't give your real name out on the internet." And but like now that you're here, hi. And you know what? They were totally chill and respectful and never made a big deal out of it. So if they find, I don't do anything on my channel where they would be like, "Oh no, that Avron lady, how dare." But they will find out that I'm really freaking nerdy. So as if that wasn't obvious enough by being the English teacher, they'd be like, "Oh my God, she's actually a nerd."
That's so cool. That's so cool. Another friend of mine who does a podcast he's like an English and a drama teacher.
Nice.
And his kids he's really into like Marvel and stuff. So quite often, especially recently with all the kind of Marvel films and stuff, he's out geeked a lot of his kids on like the histories of Marvel comics and things. And they've just been like, "Sir, that's really nerdy." Like,
but so satisfying.
Yeah. Yeah. So how much of your art is inspired by ESO?
Most of it, honestly. I really enjoy doing fan art or art of people's their OCs, their original characters. I think it's just really cool because like fan art is just such a cool, totally valid little genre of art that I didn't have like a lot of exposure to as a kid. Like, I would just draw anything like cats or make up my own superheroes, or I was totally convinced I was going to be a fantasy author in high school. So I was like, I'm going to draw like maps and characters. And now I'm like, well, I'm going to just draw like elves from the Elder Scrolls or, this person's character. And it's cool. And I'm really lucky that I kind of made a little tiny circle of friends that all also do art. And I think that was just really important because it was like really encouraging too. They were like, "Yeah, totally. Like you can draw what makes you happy." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Like valid. I'm going to run with that." So yeah, I definitely do a lot of Elder Scrolls themed art. And I think that like the Elder Scrolls community is just really damn talented.
Yeah.
Their art is amazing. And I'm not even on that level of a lot of them. So like kudos. It's so cool to see, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And there's something about sort of fan art and stuff that it's so personal to people. It's so meaningful to people. I think I do think it's a really cool genre. I can't draw for toffee at all under any circumstances. If my life depended on it, I couldn't draw anything sensible. So I'm very in awe of people who can actually draw. And occasionally people will draw things for me, mostly through my like WoW stuff. And you're like, "Oh my God, that's really amazing. It's my character. I can tell it's my character. That's amazing." So cool.
And it just makes people feel good. Like I feel like drawing someone's character is like one of the biggest compliments you could give someone. And I'm just always like, even when people pay me to draw their characters, when they're like, "Oh my God, they look so cool." You're just like, I feel so special. Like it just makes me feel warm and fuzzy. It's just like, oh my God, I'm so glad you're happy. It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have any advice for any aspiring artists that may be looking for inspiration in the game?
Yeah, draw what makes you happy is the best advice I ever got. If you want to draw nothing but your favorite NPC, draw nothing but your favorite NPC. Like, don't even don't even listen to people that are like, why are you drawing that? Or people that like hate on whatever it is you're doing, because like the problem with drawing fan art is sometimes people roll up and they're like, you can't do that, that's not in the lore, which is hilarious, because then that's when I pull the lore mistress card. It's like, you dare question me. So that's a good trump card. But no, like really, that it doesn't matter. Like, and I think that's the thing people have to remember, is that like Todd Howard himself has told me face to face in person that like, dude, like the lore is totally like, it's just up to interpretation. Nothing is completely settled. And I think that's actually something that makes the Elder Scrolls universe so cool, is that nothing's really set in stone, and you can be as imaginative as you want with a lot of the things. So yeah, like draw what makes you happy. If something just like is vibes with you or resonates with you, like just take that inspiration and go, because there's enough stuff in the world that tries to just like stop you and make you feel imposter syndrome and tell you that you can't do these little things that give you joy. And it's just like, screw it, do what you want. The lore mistress told you you can, so there you go.
The lore mistress says it is so. So there we are. We have it straight from the official source. Draw whatever makes you happy. That's so cool. Okay, so we've just got some of our like fun questions left now. And I think maybe this question isn't going to be quite as controversial as it usually is. So why is AD the best faction?
Why isn't it the best faction? Let's be real. That's such a funny. Yeah, you're right. Because when people originally started asking me that, nobody was AD. No one was Dominion. Like Dominion, even in Cyrodiil, like if you rolled out with a little Dominion group, people would be like, "Are you looking for the RP servers? Because there aren't any. Like, what are you doing here?" And now Dominion is a serious business, especially in PvP. We kind of rock it. No offense to Covenant and Pact, but we're pretty good at what we do now these days. So I kind of lean into the AD fangirl thing because the character I play the most is Dominion. But there's no real reason. I just because I'm in it. No.
I mean,
that answer is just as good as any.
Just as good as any.
Right? Like, why not? I'm in it. So
fair, I'm also in it, as is Raven.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So
we're all
go.
Dominion here.
So no controversy. Is Dominion's the best alliance? We said it. That's the end of the just end of it.
Yeah, for the Queen.
Also, we have Razumdar. So
do you know what? I was literally just
and
about
in general
to say that. But Razumdar, I helped him out. I helped him out at home with a quest for his mum the other day.
That was so cute.
So I was just like, what's going on? And she's like, oh yeah, my wayward son, he's really lazy. And then you walk up to the house and you're like, Raz, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, what's going on? And he's like, oh yeah, the Queen sent me on holiday. She thought I needed a holiday. This isn't a holiday. I'm not having a nice time. I was like, oh, okay. Well, we can help you out. That's cool. I really like that quest.
Oh, I'll have to look forward to that one then. So which side would win? One of each Pokemon or 6 billion Guar?
This is a hard question because I don't know anything about Pokemon beyond Red and Blue. So I'm at a disadvantage here. And Guar are cute. And I feel like billion, right?
6 billion.
That's a lot. Okay, so 6 billion stampeding Guar. Like, I'm sorry. I just feel like at one point you could do all your Pokemon things to them, but eventually, like, you're gonna get stampeded. So Guar all the way.
I mean, it's a lot of Guar. Like,
it's a lot of Guar.
It's a lot of Guar. It's a lot of Guar.
It's like an ant army, but Guars. So
yeah. I feel like they could probably overcome most things.
I got it.
As you are the lore mistress, what is your favorite lore book?
Oh, there's a lot of them, but I think my ultimate favorite is one of the Dwemer scrolls, and it's a story called Zora and the Box. And the story is basically how the Dwemer, were beings of logic and almost science, right? They're kind of like an allegory for science versus religion. And of course, the Chimer were, people of religion. They believed in the Daedric princes. So this one Dwemer scholar is like, I can prove to you that the Daedra don't know everything. And everyone was like, ooh. So Azor's like, sure you can. What do you got for me? And he's like, okay, I have a box. Guess what's in the box? And Azor guesses, and the Dwemer scholar opens the box, and the box is empty. And Azura, of course, curses him, and he dies because, that's what she does to people.
I mean, as bets go, that was a reasonably kind of unsafe bet to make.
Right? Yeah, I don't know why he thought he was going to go anywhere, but turns out that she was right. He just did a sleight of hand illusion to make it look like the box was empty. So she was right in the end anyway, but, of course, like the damage had been done. And to me, I'm just like, I don't know why. Maybe that says something about me, but I love that story. It's just, I don't know. It's interesting. And there's so many lore books, but that's always been one that's just kind of stood out to me. Like a little deceit and trickery. Let's go.
Have you collected all of the lore books? Do you have a complete library?
In ESO? Probably not. I'm not gonna lie, because I have all the Shalador's library, but every single thing in the game, I would say I probably have about 90%, if not more, but I don't have 100%.
That's pretty good because there's a lot.
That's still pretty impressive.
Tamriel's so massive that, like the other day we were running, I think it was Earth and Root. We were in the Earth and Root dungeon, and there's literally like a text on a wall that if I hadn't accidentally ran over it and saw the read cursor, I would have never have known was there. So if I could find everything, it wouldn't be like an adventure game. So
one of the things I actually really quite like about Elder Scrolls compared to World of Warcraft is there's a website called Wowhead for World of Warcraft, and literally everything in the game is documented on that database, and they take all of the patches and they break them apart, and literally every item and every possible thing that you can possibly click on is in Wowhead, which makes you really lazy. If there's an achievement, you're like, oh, I'll just go to Wowhead, and you can quite often just upload or download lists of coordinates for going and finding all the things you need to find. And I quite like the fact that the UESP is good and other sites are kind of good, but actually you're free to just go and be able to kind of find things. There isn't like one place where absolutely everything is written with coordinates and like you just, plug this into your add-on and follow the arrow. You're free to still play the exploration game, which and there's really cool.
There's just so much in the game, and that's one of the things. Like USP is great, but it's only as powerful as the people who write the wiki articles, and there's just not enough people to write. Well, first of all, who wants to work for free? Nobody. So there's that. But like, there's just so much information to shift through, and I think that's kind of something that when you think of like the scope of ESO as a game, that's really, you kind of have to step back and be like, it's pretty impressive because there's like even the best of the best haven't done everything, so it's super cool.
It's really cool. I really like it.
Yeah, and on the subject of Wowhead, I find personally, I hear more people actually reading and engaging with quest text because not everything's just there on one site.
Yeah. Although the way that questing works in ESO, I think, is naturally more engaging because you always have like a lot of, it's all spoken and it all pops up in the dialogue screens in a very different way to how it works in World of Warcraft. And I have an add-on in World of Warcraft that's called Storyline that makes it a bit more like that. It's not like completely like that, but it pops up a very different dialogue box that's much more kind of it's just a bit more of an engaging way of presenting it, because otherwise it's just like a little box at the side of your screen and you're like, yes, click, accept, yes, it's fine, yes, whatever, like, cool, fine, I'll get on with it.
All right, now where do I need to go?
Yeah, what am I doing? And you open up the map and it's all like sits on the map and you're like, oh, okay, I'll go over there and kill some things. Cool, it's fine. So yeah.
So thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Can you let our listeners know where they can find you?
Yeah, and thanks for having me on your 10th episode of The 10th Divine. That's so cool. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch, and I am Avron Doodles.
Cool. Thanks so much for tuning into the show, everyone. If you've enjoyed it, please let other people know and give us a review wherever you are listening to us. Rating and reviewing the show will help other people to find it. You can also give us a review over at the Bonus Roll podcast directory. Go to bonusroll.gg/directory to find it. If you want to get in touch with the show, you can find us on Twitter at 10th Divine Pod, or you can email us at 10thdivinepodcast@gmail.com. If you want to find us in other places, you can find me, Raven, over at Girls Gone WoW, if you're a World of Warcraft fan, or if tabletop RPGs are more your thing, you can check out As the Dice Roll, where I'm a member of the crew of the Cautious Optimism. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram as Silky Raven, or over at the GGW Discord at girlsgonewild.net/Discord. There's a channel over there for ESO chatter and lots of other people chatting about amazing gaming chat.
And you can find me, Shanty, on Twitter at Shantyman Gaming, or on Twitch, also at Shantyman Gaming, where I'm streaming ESO with an occasional other MMO mixed in for variety. You can also find me on the Girls Gone WoW Discord, joining in the ESO chatter and gaming chat, and a whole variety of other ESO Discords. Feel free to say hello if you happen to see me online.
I love that. I went to another ESO Discord this morning, and it's like the bot thing was like, "Welcome, Raven," and the first person who replied was Shanty, like, "Oh, hey, Raven," and I was like, "Oh yes, of course you'd be here too." So yeah.
Oh yeah, welcome to the Lore Seekers.
Welcome to the Lore Seekers. Any ESO Discord, you will definitely find Shanty on any ESO Discord that you can lay your hands on. And if you find an ESO Discord that Shanty isn't on, you should let him know so that he can join. We will be back in a fortnight for another lovely chat with somebody about ESO. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.